Silver Ranch. Welcome back to Nerds on the Mic. This is episode 2, where we talk about anything Nerdcore related. It could be music, video games, anime, comics, just about anything under the sun. I'm your host, Silver Ranch, and today I have a special guest with me. My first guest on this podcast for episode 2, so by the way, I'm gonna let him have the center stage.
Hi, I'm OHRA1N. I'm a rapper. I mainly make nerdcore music, but I'm more of a Cypher person than a track person. Been doing it for a year as of last week.
Oh, it's been almost a year for you now.
Yeah.
Literally last week.
Yep.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks. I've been in the scene for a while, and I've grown. It's been crazy.
So I guess for starters, since most people probably don't know like you on the sense of my channel, give me a quick little introduction of who you are and kind of how you jumped into this scene, like how you got into making music and going down this route.
All right. So this is gonna be prime podcast. Whoever watches this is only gonna know this information. But I originally joined Nerdcore 3 years ago under a completely different name.
Oh.
And I was trying to make a Dead by Daylight cipher because I love Dead by Daylight so much, and nobody had one out. And I met a couple people. That's how I met Leo Barkey. He's in my collective now. But I joined under a different name, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do the verse for $10." I'm like, $10? You guys don't do it for free? And they're like, "No." So I was like, "Oh man, they're charging me money," and then I instantly just gave up. And then last year, I rebooted my project as a Dead by Daylight cipher with money in my pockets this time. Dropped it. It's out. It's out, but that doesn't mean it's the best. It was back when I recorded on AirPods. So then that's how I got into the scene. I'm like, man, this is fun. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep going. When I joined, I was under the name Quavis. That's my last name.
Quavis, okay.
And the origin behind OHRA1N was that I switched to Rain because I was on a huge Mortal Kombat phase, and I main Rain in the game, so I went Rain. And then my best friend, who I joined in the scene, or who I joined with on the same day, was O Elite. And I'm like, OHRA1N. O Elite is kind of like a cool thing. And I've really just been cruising ever since, just making a bunch of music, starting to come out of my comfort zone. I've been singing, rapping in Spanish. It's like a bunch of whole different things.
Okay. I might cut this bit out, but I'm curious because when I was doing some searching into you to get some information on who you are a little bit for this podcast. Mm-hmm. I saw you seem really young. I saw a tweet because it was you gave a little bio of yourself on one. You said you were 15. Is that correct?
I am 15 years old. Yeah.
And you're so young to be doing it. So you started at 14. So you're basically right in high school right now. Is that correct?
Yeah. Sophomore year.
How is it going into that because for me this is when I started high school was right around when I started picking this up because I was about 15, 16 when I started listening to this sort of music. I was listening to when I was really younger, I was listening the old school Shofu ciphers, 6 seconds with back when he was doing the greatest cartoon rap and anime and video games. That was the stuff that kind of got me started and then led me to people like Dizzy 8 and Fable and all those guys. What kind of drew you in? Who were some inspirations that kind of drew you into this community in terms of artists?
Okay, so inspirations. It's kind of bad to admit now because he very recently got canceled, but my inspiration to get into the game was Jacob Cass, and that's not good to admit. It's at the time I really looked up to him, and after knowing what he did, it's it kind of hurt me in a way.
I understand that because I kind of had something similar with that. It's actually funny. It's a little bit of tea spilling on this podcast. one of the first people I listened to at the time after like Show Food 6 was a guy named None Like Joshua.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So much so that I then dropped a video when all the drama went down, kind of detailing my issue with it. And it wasn't so much, well, it was the stuff he did because it was a pattern of behavior. Mm-hmm. But it was more on the side of like, and I think you can understand this, just sometimes accountability is like the number one important thing that I think a lot of us in this community just look for. If you screw up, like, just admit you made a mistake.
Yeah.
Is there like the number one thing? So I kind of said that, I called him out. And I never noticed this. I made this video back in my sophomore year of college, about 2-ish years ago when all this stuff kind of happened. Mm-hmm. About 2 months ago, I was sitting in the airport in Reagan, heading back up because I'm in Pittsburgh at Duquesne, as you can tell by the big D on my. That sounds bad, actually. But so I was sitting at the airport and I was scrolling through Twitter. I saw somebody who showed up like a None Like Joshua Porowitz. Clicked on his account. I'm blocked by him.
Oh my god.
Mind you, if you go on my channel, I have like less than 500 subs. That video got like maybe 2K views. Like, it's not like crazy big. And it's like, I was like, dang, tell me how you really feel. So I understand. Like, like, it sucks when you look up to somebody and like, you notice like, and like bad things happen. So I think it's one of those things where like, I still have Josh's music on my account, despite the fact I'm not a fan of what he's done. I think it's one of those things. It's kind of a good like starting point, because sometimes the hardest bit is like finding that line of differentiating the art from the artist. You know, especially if like it's someone you look up to.
Yeah.
The next thing I really want to ask is, what is it like going into this? Like, especially like I said, being so young and like having like you have like when you're in high school, like it's a tough time. There's a lot of judgmental people. There's a lot of different opinions on the sort of stuff. I think it's now different like now than it used to be. But like, do people like your family know like you do this stuff? Do people like a lot of your close friends know, or is this more like I keep it to myself and I go in the lab and grind on my own?
Okay, so my whole mom's side of the family, yeah, no. My dad's side, none of them know. With my best friend ever, his online name is Pooby, and we ran the podcast together. And because I was like, hey, I'm really into this Nerdcore thing. I think me and you can make something off it. And he's like, yeah, of course, man, let's do it. He's been my best friend since 4th grade, and we've locked in, and we made it, and now we're both going to MPC together.
You going to MPC?
Yeah.
I'm still looking at that possibly for myself, because I'm trying to make up. We're going to see what happens with the Orioles game tonight, see if I make an extra $100. But but I'm looking into like going to that event as well, because it's like the event that everybody, like all of us artists, fans, and just reactors just always go to, because it's just a good time.
Yeah. And then besides that, my girlfriend knows, and she's probably my biggest fan right now.
You say she's one of your biggest supporters?
Yeah, definitely. She always checks out my drops.
Well, the big thing I wanted to invite you on for was that, like I said, so for anybody knowing, we're not gonna spoil it, because this is your project, but he put out a tweet a while back asking for some people for a Cypher. So I threw my hand in the ring. He gave me a chance for it, which I always will appreciate, since you probably just looked and saw Rich, probably like, who the hell is this guy? But and I wanted to ask, like, because I wanted to ask for somebody who's done a lot of these, like, what goes into like putting together ciphers? Because sometimes I feel like the hardest bit is like finding like that cutoff point for like, okay, I can't run this many people, or this is going to become a nightmare of a project, and like getting people that you trust on this, because sometimes I know putting this together and having to kind of divvy out the work so much can be a headache.
My cutoff line for people amount is 32. Never doing more than 32. And
that alone sounds crazy on its own.
Yeah, 32 is definitely a bigger number. Most I'm doing, which should be dropping after the one that you're on, is 28.
Dang,
And
28.
okay, one big thing that I do with ciphers is you got to get a headliner. You got to get I do. I get my headliner. I get my one person who would be considered mainstream nerdcore, and then
Okay.
everybody else are like, I think this person can spit on this character, then they can go on. And this has already been confirmed, but for the one that you're on, and for the real ones that are watching this podcast, that was Haztic.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I hit up
I
Haztic.
came in and he just like. I saw him and I was like, oh, okay. And then like a day later, he has all his crap done. I'm like,
Yep. I
yeah,
hit up
that sums it
Haztic,
up.
and I'm like, you're on Cam Studies? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, all right, well, you're on mine. Here's the beat. Here's the timestamps. Welcome in. With the one coming after that, I'm just going to, you know what? If you're watching this podcast, you're getting a lot of rain info right now.
Sir.
After the one that you're on, almost said the name. After the one that you're on, my headliners are Jamar Rose and D-Trey.
Oh,
And-
wow. You got Jamar for that one.
Yeah, and then
Oh.
I got, like, for the Fire Cypher that recently dropped, I had Ariel Ace and Politicus.
Yeah, that was sick, by the way.
For the Horror Cypher that dropped today, I had Lychee. Lychee was on it. And then for the Lightning Cypher, which has been confirmed, but no roster yet, that is Tokume, who has appeared on a couple
Ooh.
Rusted Cyphers.
That's an interesting one. So, what goes into getting into like going in for like bigger headliner people? Like, how do you throw your hand in the ring to like make sure you're like A, you stand out, and B, like you come off like super professional, especially like I said at a young age like you.
Yeah. I have had a good name with Nerdcore for a very, very long time, really. So
Okay.
this is kind of like drifting apart from the Cypher topic, but around September last year, me and my friend Pooby got together and we brought in a bunch of upper Nerdcore artists and hosted a big Among Us live stream where a bunch of Nerdcore artists came together and played Among Us, and every donation to the stream went to children's cancer research. And I had G-Shon there. There was Stargirl, Diggs, Is That Frost. Hala CG showed up. It was...
Dang.
It gave me, like, a good, like, group of people that I could, like, look at and be like, yeah, these are my friends and they know me. Like, like, Diggs, he's been giving me tips and tricks on how to get better since that thing, and I've been improving. I've been getting better. I still talk to some of them. Occasionally, I hit up Star or Dripstick. Jeesh left my server last week. It left me brokenhearted. But we still talk. I met Lime King on there. Guy that won the
Oh,
show
you met
from
Lime
Cypher.
King.
Yeah. He's hilarious.
He's been going crazy recently.
Yeah.
He seems like a really funny dude.
Mhm. And that has gotten me like for example, Cam, like, not that I've ever met him, but like if Cam Steady was like, hey Star, you want to do something on this day, and she's like, no, I'm doing this stream with Among Us, and he's like, oh, who's that? You know, like Nerdcore, they know me through people.
Yeah.
And like I'll hit up, who's a good Haztic, I'll bring up Haztic. I hit up Haztic and he's like, oh, Callan's mentioned your name before. I'll be like, oh yeah, because me and Callan be at a podcast, you know. It was like, I know people through people. Mainly it's Diggs. I'm not gonna lie. Mainly it's Diggs.
No, I'm so glad you brought up his name because he's like a big one for me as well.
Yeah.
Like I started I DM him like a decent bit. He's helped me a bunch. I did a bunch of reactions. He was like one of the first guys who followed me back on Twitter, and he gave me like a nice DM on like at least some of the reactions I did. I was like, hey, much love, brother.
Yeah.
But nah, I love that mindset because like you're already setting yourself up for like such a big way to get like you're setting yourself up well to get bigger and more successful in the future because you're coming at things with a really honestly like insanely mature for, like I said, someone who's just a sophomore in high school. It actually blows my mind a lot. And not only that, but you're building up like you're building up a strong network of people, and even like following up with them like after. I think that's really that's really impressive to me. I'm like, this is blowing my mind, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice like this. It's nice to be able to like connect to people through like if hang on, sorry. If somebody's like considered in quotations lower in nerdcore, I'll look through their stuff, I'll find their strong points, I'll find their weak points, I'm like, "Hey, I'll get you on this track." And you know, do your thing, do your best. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and I'll wait, and then we can try again. You know, he's like, it's like I said, he, like I'm referring to somebody, but I'm just saying like overall nerdcore. Another thing that has kept my name very clear: I've never had beef in nerdcore. There's 2 people that have had my names in their mouth, and that instantly ended the day after because they're like. Because all the comments are like, "Oh, that's the guy that did the cancer stream," and they're like, "He did a cancer stream," and then they instantly move on. But it's like, and it's weird because like the 2 people that did have my name in their mouth were like big artists, and that's like scary to see.
Oh. Yeah.
Because I'm like, like, I need to. So I'll always like, most of the time I'll call them the next day. I'll be like, "Hey, let's clear this up. Me and you, we gotta talk," and it usually ends well.
Yeah. So I guess to bounce off this, it's like I said, one of the biggest things that's like really impressing me is like the level of maturity you've gotten from like such a quick, like just from like, I guess like doing all this stuff for a year. Like what helped you build up like this like sense of maturity and just like this? Is it from like a family standpoint, or is it from like just like life experiences, or is it more just like it's just like just kind of how you are?
Majority of my friends have always been adults. I've been used to being around adults. I was raised with adults and never had any siblings. I've just been like, I've grown mature, and then whenever I have to send like I won't like text a big artist and be like, "Yo, get on my track." I'll be like, "Hey, hope this message finds you well, blah blah blah. Here, if you're interested." Mir Blackwell taught me a technique on how to get free features. So there's sometimes I use that. And sometimes I use that.
Of course, it's Mir.
Mir was, I'm not gonna lie, Mir was very, very high on my podcast, and he was not in it.
That's funny. And also, that sounds like just all that stuff just sounds like him, like just his personality. That's funny.
It's probably in our DMs right now, but me and him made a full cast list for NBA Cypher. Just
oh
like,
my god.
Everyone. I think 954 Mari was LeBron. I can't remember everyone, but we just like went through a long list of artists.
Oh my god, that's funny. Oh, speaking of LeBron, like I said, you're on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
You know his son?
Yeah.
Well, there's been a bunch of rumors because he's going to one. Like, they're talking about 2 different places he's going. They say he's either going to NBA or right here, baby, 2K. Oh. So just saying, Roddy might be up here in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Get you a photo of Broughton now, kid. Nah, that's funny. Yeah. I guess. So, what's your go-to when you start, like when you put down tracks? Like, how do you record? Do you have more of a free DAW, or do you use or do you go to like something that has a little more like of a paid subscription? So like, how do you go about like approaching your tracks?
I've always used BandLab, and then as of today, I use FL.
Use FL?
Yep.
Subscription or free?
Subscription.
Is it worth it? Because that's one of the few ones I haven't took the time to invest in more.
For recording, it's a very hard transition between that BandLab and FL, but for beats, it's really well.
That's what I've heard. Like, I've heard it's really good for beats because a lot of my friends up here at Duquesne used FL like a lot of the time. But for me, it's like because I do more like music and vocals and stuff like that. I've always I use Reaper because it's free, and then I also use Pro Tools, but Pro Tools can be so sketchy with tracking if my CPU just decides to take a dump and just stop caring. But yeah, I'm trying to think of it. I got a really good one. What was what's a video game you're playing, and what's a show you're watching that you've been putting a lot more time into recently?
For video games, I've always cycled around the same 3 video games my entire life, and that has been Overwatch, Pokemon, Dead by Daylight.
Oh my god, that's an amazing trio.
Because, like, the average Overwatch mindset is play 2 games, get so frustrated you have to find a new game to play, and that's why I got Pokemon in there.
That's so funny, because that's me with Rocket League and the MLB The Show.
I had to quit League because of how intense it was getting for me.
Oh my god. So it's only gotten worse. So you probably dodged a bullet.
Show-wise, I just finished Has-Been. Because
I still haven't.
Everybody has been making songs about it, and I made a big post about I don't think I'm going to be making a Has-Been song anytime soon, and then they were like, you should watch Has-Been. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And I watch Has-Been, I'm like, I think I might make a Has-Been song.
I know, that's what blew my mind as well, because, like, I talked about it on episode 1 that I finished up editing, and I was like, it blew my mind because, because I watched both that and Hell of a Boss that Vizzy drops on their channel. Hell of a Boss is on their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I watched that show, and I love that show to death. It's ironic because some of the most viewed videos on my channel. And then I was like, nobody would drop tracks on it. It just kind of blew my mind. And then Has-Been comes out, and I'm like, oh, it seems really good. I'm sure it's going to probably get the same results as Hell of a Boss. Nope. Every big artist around the sun. I was like, holy, what is happening? Like, literally, I just listened to DPS's Adam track. Oh my god. It's so good. It's so good. And that's fun. Why do you think that's the case? Why do you think so many people jumped on this so much when I think both those shows are doing well the same views? You think it's more because mainstreamness?
A lot of things that blow up in Nerdcore. This happened with Beyblade. This happened with Jigsaw.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, wow, that's getting big on Twitter. Time to make a song about it. And then it gets even bigger on Twitter when people make a song about it. It keeps growing. And then one random day, it just dies. Nobody ever makes a song about it anymore.
Yeah. No, it's weird. Like, you think part of this is like, I mean, you kind of stated already with like trends, like, do you think there's more of like a capitalistic mindset in nerdcore than like other like genres of hip hop because of the fact it's predicated on how business of like certain like products, whether it's TV shows, video games, manga, comic books, like how that is doing or like how that is reaching a fan base at the time? You think that has something to do with like what drops?
Definitely. It's most of the time it's what's big at the time or what the artist is very, very passionate in. And like there's certain animes, like if an artist is like watching an anime and they're like, man, this anime is pretty good, and then when the anime's over they're like, you know what, I'm gonna make a song about it. I know it's not popular right now, but I'm sure someone in the world loves this anime, and I love this anime, so let's make a track about it. This is on the topic of anime, but I don't make anime music, never will, because I don't watch anime. I have watched one anime in my life, and that was My Hero Academia, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do this again. And then, or two actually. I watched Assassination Classroom, which is very good, but
that one is very good.
My Hero, rough start.
Yeah. I think you picked like probably the worst case scenario for like if you went mainstream. Quick question: do you use TikTok by chance?
I do.
Is that part of the factor? Like, is it like a bad memory turning I feel like
yeah.
the TikTok feed?
Mm-hmm.
I understand. No, me and my best friend, who I do a hockey podcast with, we were having the same we had a 30-minute conversation when we were sitting in our last meeting for Anime Club today, and I was like, yeah. No, it's just like I feel for anybody who actually likes that show. Like truly, I think it's all right, but like at the same time, it's like you want to find one show that just nukes a fan base, like it just has like the worst fan bases. like you know, like the fan base is the ones that like the crazy stands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand.
I can confidently say that I was never one of those fans. I watched My Hero, and I had people like that around me, and I'm like, okay, this is concerning.
And I think that's the tough part when you're when you see it, because like again, like high school and college have these two like things that people get very cliquey, and you notice like you'll have like the jocks, you'll have the nerdy people, you'll have like what people consider the social outcasts, and then there's like a few other groups, and then you have like this big subsection of people in the middle, and you kind of look out around, and it's like,
yeah.
And I'm guessing like you probably got some people who are like really heavily anime fans. It's like their personality does not jive with you at all.
Mm-hmm. Especially in Nerdcore.
Oh yeah, it's tough. It's tough, and it's just a life thing. It's hard. It's hard to get past it. I could understand that because people can be really, I don't know. People are just weird. I think it's been that way since COVID, but you start noticing it more and more every year at times, and like ever since COVID, you know. I guess the last thing I really want to go into was like, what was like through all of this, what has been like your favorite memory since you started this journey a year ago? Like restarted this journey as OHRA1N a year ago.
Starting the dollars is probably my favorite journey, or my biggest accomplishment. The dollars is my collective. I started it with my friends Elite and Blackout, and it has grown. We've lost people, we've gained people. There were people in the collective that were small at the time, and now they're big. Mimi Lock, one of the biggest ones, just got noticed by Dripstick and Ham Sandwich. But at the time I had her in the collective, she was still growing. I got a lot of cool people in there. Jenna Chris, GXG Wolf, just a lot of nice names, and starting up the collective was like a big, you got this and you're gonna keep pushing thing. And the server has over 200 members in it right now.
Damn.
Are you in the dollar server?
I am. We're gonna do one simple test to see if I'm not an idiot and make sure because I remember you put it in the Cypher chat. I am in the dollars. I am in the dollars because I usually will scroll through every now and then while I'm finishing work or working on tracks, and I'm like, let's see what's going on through all this Discord. Let me scroll through the dollars for like 5 minutes, see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I know you always, because you grinding. I always know that you and your boys are grinding.
Yeah.
Well, I wanna thank you so much for this, because you, like I said, for the first guest, you've been unbelievable. You've got such a great mindset for everything, and that it puts a smile on my face seeing that from other artists, because sometimes I know this, like, it's an industry, it's tough, and like coming at it from like this perspective, I think I love the way you go about things. So thank you so much for your time. You've been just the best. So from everybody here, this has been Nerds on the Mic with your host Silver Ranch featuring OHRA1N. I hope you all go over to his channel and give it support. It is OHRA1N. Hey, give him some subscriptions. Go listen to his music. He does fantastic work, and I think you all from the Ranch Nation will appreciate him once you give him a listen. So, any last things you want to say before we sign off?
Thanks for having me on. Got a lot of great things coming to both YouTube and Spotify. All my things on Spotify their audios drop a week before their AMV drops on YouTube. So if you want early access, check out the Spotify, and then the AMVs will be on a week later. That's going to happen with the legendary Pokemon Cypher, I'll say it. It's going to happen on there.
Yes, sir.
It's a big milestone. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. And from everybody here, this has been Silver Ranch hosting Nerds on the Mic, and I'm signing off.